Good morning, my fellow mellow, unhurried, tranquil patriots. Let's take a look at this story from CNN Networks. Sense of urgency grips the White House with Biden facing crisis on many fronts. Problems that he was instrumental in creating. But the Communist News Network won't tell you that. In fact, it will go out of its way in order to defend him time and again. I'm not going to show you the embedded video. The caption for it reads, Biden faces disappointing jobs report, stalled agenda. That's the first problem where the Communist News Network tries to defend bumbling Biden. You see, the September jobs report wasn't disappointing, it was downright catastrophic. It was expected jobs were going to come in at about 500,000. 194,000? And you're just disappointed? Oh, do you have a high pain tolerance, especially for other people's pain, not your own? Isn't that right, Communist News Network? Let's go on. 9 months into failed Calamity Joe's presidency, asterisk presidency, a White House suddenly, beset on all sides, feels a growing sense of urgency. There was nothing sudden about the president's collapse. It started right at the very beginning. Let's talk about it. The coronavirus pandemic, Beijing Biden thought he had tamed this spring. Hold on right there. The Wuhan flu vaccine created and distributed by President Trump in the spring had nothing to do with Beijing Biden. Now, the Communist News Network will have you believe that the COVID 1984 is responsible for disrupting the economic recovery, not the Democratic governors of, say, New York and California, and even my beloved home state of Hawaii, where governors lock things down, where people aren't allowed to go back to their jobs, where people aren't allowed to go to bars, where people aren't allowed to go to amusement parks, or any parks, or beaches. Now, in states like Texas and Florida, they have red Republican governors. People can go to bars and jobs and beaches and have a good old time. So, life in Republican states has returned to normal, and there was never a large disruption of their local economies. So, it wasn't COVID 1984 disrupting the economies, it was the Democratic governor's response that disrupted the economies and people's lives. But the Communist News Network wants to blame COVID 1984 for something even more. It says it's fueling higher than expected inflation. Now, we know that's just a bald-faced lie. What's fueling inflation is what has always fueled inflation: government spending. Beijing Biden has had the printing presses going full steam ever since he became president, handing out money to here and there to everywhere. Here's money for you. Here's money for you. Here's money for you over there. You don't even have to be a citizen. You don't even have to be a legal immigrant. Here's some money. And Beijing Biden isn't done yet. If his policies go through, why, this stagflation we're going through right now, it's nothing. We're going to go into hyperinflation. Beijing Biden's motto should just be burn, baby, burn, because that's all he can do for the United States. See it burn. And have you noticed the Communist News Network hasn't mentioned another problem of Beijing Biden's. Now, as bad as the problems in Afghanistan and China are, those are international problems, and they don't sink a presidency. Domestic problems do. The rise in gasoline, due not only to inflation, but due to his anti-drilling, anti-pipeline policies, except for Russia. He killed our pipeline and greenlit the pipeline for Russia. What a man! And then there's the border issue. That's what will kill the president. That's not even mentioned in this article. Not only were jobs lost when he stopped the wall construction, we're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of jobs, money that had already been earmarked, money that should have been used, not used. He killed the border wall construction. We still have a huge border issue, and now illegal immigrants, which are a problem in good times, are a really bad problem in bad times. We don't have enough jobs. We don't have enough money for our own citizens. But the Communist News Network won't even mention the problem along our border, that there are tens of thousands of people streaming across our borders, and that ICE and the Border Patrol have all but thrown up their hands in despair over Beijing Biden's policies of just let them come in. For Calamity Joe to turn around his presidency, he has to do several things. He has to stop treating COVID-19 84 as it's the next Black Plague. He has to stop spending our money as if he's a drunken sailor. And finally, he has to turn out the open light along the border and roll up the welcome mat.